What's up, lover researchers? It's Kevin. Welcome back to another video. I got a really special guest and a really good friend of mine, Haitong Ye. We used to work together on the same team. That's how we met at Google on the identity team. We sat right next to each other. We had a lot of fun. She's super knowledgeable, very diligent. I noticed because she's always working, and I would go off and play pool all the time or eat snacks. But yeah, welcome, Haitong.
Hey, thank you. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, excited. I mean, we see each other like every other week, but finally got her on the channel to share with you her experience as a UX researcher, coming from a UX research assistant role from a master's background. But I'll let her introduce herself actually. So hi Tom, tell us a little about yourself and how you became a UX researcher.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Haitong, and I am a UX researcher right now at Wear OS team at Google. A fun fact about me is that I was born by the water in southern China, but I don't know how to swim. That is a fun fact about me. I actually switched from another background to UX. So prior to UX, I was working on web marketing for companies in France and China.
Okay.
So the job intention was a little bit closer to business. So my responsibilities were mainly to attract site traffic by using strategies like increasing brand awareness, improving SEO data, developing online affiliates, and strategizing digital communication, etc.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was my background before UX.
Yeah. How did you transition into UX? How did you find out about it?
So my first time to learn about UX field was when I was chatting with a friend, a very close friend, who was a UX designer, who still is, in Silicon Valley. So we chatted really in depth about this field, and I was fascinated. So what I learned from her is that the kind of underlying philosophy of UX is to bring and to really study about customers and bring their voice to influence the product and services that involve experiences. And that at that time I was in marketing, but I had a strong feeling that this would be very important in the future because customers have a lot of power to choose.
Mm-hmm.
I think experience would be very essential for the product and service to succeed. And then I started to do more research about this field and decided to pursue graduate program on human factors in information design at Bentley University.
The same program. Did you say you saw me? I think I don't remember, but we have run into each other at the program before.
Yeah, it was in Boston. I remember.
Boston. Okay. Cool. Thanks for sharing that. Do you think the master's was helpful? Tell me more about what did it prepare you for now that you do work in UX research?
That's a great question. It's definitely a question that I heard a lot from people who also wanted to get into the field.
Mm-hmm.
For me personally, I definitely think that the knowledge and training that I got from the program that I enrolled in prepared me a lot for my career as a UX researcher. So I think the first value I received was that the kind of systematic learning of the technical skills. So UX is a pretty sophisticated discipline. I think it kind of incorporates knowledge from different fields like marketing, cognitive science, psychology, anthropology, human-computer interactions, etc. By following a well-designed curriculum, I think I systematically learned the different subjects like human factors, design thinking, program evaluation methods, field methods, etc. So I think that is really helpful and valuable. And the second value was the professors at Bentley. They are in academia, so they have strong rigor in research and science. They also have a tight connection to corporate world.
Yeah.
So in the program, they kind of offered opportunities for me to work with the corporate clients to to actually apply what I learned at school in the program to the real problems by doing the projects for them.
Yeah, totally. Like you said, the professors, they're in academia, but a lot of them do work in industry, VP of UX at Fidelity. Another thing is that they connect you with real client work, not just hypothetical classroom projects, but you're working with real clients, which is, we're this is becoming like an advertisement for Bentley, but
The point I wanted to add to kind of value of enrolling into a program, but that I might just speak for myself or people who like me, who's not native English speakers. I think enrolling in a program or by attending to in an American school gave me the opportunity to improve my English communication skills. And communication skills is like super important for being a teacher. So yeah, just speaking for like a small group here. But,
probably a big group too. So no, that's a great point. Yeah, since I have viewers all around the world whose first language may not be English, so that's a really good point. And no matter where you attend master's programs, it could be US, it could be UK, English-speaking schools, or wherever. I think learning the communication skills and honing in collaboration and communicating clearly goals and your research and presenting in such a way that tells a story. I think those are some good skills.
Yeah, totally.
It's great at teaching you the technical skills, how to do research, how to do good research. I know that you started off as a UX research assistant, and now you've been promoted to UX researcher. So a lot of my viewers would probably be very interested in hearing, what it's like being a UX research assistant at, a big company like Google.
Definitely. I also heard a lot of people asking me this question, like especially when they got an offer as a UX research assistant, they approached me asking me like, what are the pros and cons of being a research assistant, and how should they decide like whether they take it or not. So I just speak from my experience. So fresh out of the program, I worked as a UX research assistant. So the job promise was that I could get hands-on experiences by working on real projects and the opportunity to join the UX research community at Google. So it's like a pool of super talented researchers. So the typical requirements of being a research assistant was that you need to have some baseline understandings of some typical research methodologies, such as usability testing, user interview, survey, literature review, etc. And also good communication skills. And from my experience, I think research assistant is usually a support role. So to support like experienced UX researcher in the team on their projects. So like the typical process is that the researcher requested for my time, usually maximum 2 weeks, to help with the project. So that model means that the project has to be really well scoped, because I had to deliver the results in 2 weeks. That also implied that when I came into a project, the project was already scoped, and I helped with like refine the research questions and perform the studies and deliver the results. So at least for me, at the early stage, I really wanted to learn from more experienced people. Being a research assistant gives a lot of opportunity to learn from more experienced researchers to see how they do things in industry settings. And it was also like a good opportunity to do more projects, to accumulate your experiences. So I counted, I think, like I did more than 35 projects when I was like over the course of being a research assistant.
Yeah.
So, like you can enrich your portfolio by being a researcher.
Yeah. That's awesome. What are some of the cons you would say?
I wasn't able to like lead the project. Like the project was already scoped. So they're really like small scope project. And I also didn't get to plan with the stakeholders. I just like received a scoped project. Like after a while, I felt kind of unsatisfied and a little bit bored. So I started to crave for more responsibilities, especially leadership responsibilities. I wanted to actually plan research with the product stakeholders, like the product manager, designer, and that level of responsibilities required like a different set of skills.
Totally agree, because we worked in the same team, and it was different because every team's UX research assistant is kind of set up differently. On one of those teams, it's like you said, you're more supporting the researcher. In other teams, you are sitting down with the product manager, you're sitting down with designers, engineers, all the stakeholders, and you're planning it with them. All right. So you got promoted from being a UX research assistant to UX researcher. Congrats. Yay. What's the difference?
So more responsibilities. I think the major difference between research assistant and researcher is that, like I said, being a research assistant, you collaborate with other researchers, but being a researcher, you work independently. So you need to not only deliver quality research, but you also need to help scoping the projects, help refine the research questions by collaborating directly with the product stakeholders, like people that are non-UXR, that don't speak the languages. And how do you collaborate with them? How do you help them refine, how do you understand their questions and their needs and translate it into research questions? Scope projects to help answer those questions. And I think that is, to me, a new set of skills. Like I said, I'm still learning how to do that.
Yeah. And I guess my last question for you, you mentioned you have a lot of folks asking you for tips and questions about this field. What's it like being a UX researcher? How do you get in? What are some tips you have for these aspiring badass UX leaders?
Yeah, I think the major advice that I would give is that you need to continue learning and keep growing. What I did actually to continue growing is that I started a journal doing self-reflection daily, because I just encounter problems every day. I encounter new problems every day. Either it's a technical problem, like there are some questions that I might need to use some new methodologies to solve, or it's a stakeholder management, like some questions came from stakeholders and I didn't know what the best way to answer those.
I like that.
The second approach I use is to join UXR communities, or attend UX events frequently to hear what the UXR practitioners in other companies do. And because definitely they also learn things and they like to share things. I think that's a good thing about the UX community. They like to share things. So yeah, and I think by joining those events, I learned so much, different problems that the other UXer encounter and how they solve those problems. I use those two methods to just keep myself growing, not staying in the comfort zone.
Yeah, I love that. I like that a lot. Not staying in the comfort zone. I like your journaling method. It's kind of a reflection on what you need to improve on, and then you're actually going to go and improve upon them. So identifying your own weak points and being, humble enough and open-minded enough to improve upon them, so that you're not seeing things as failure, but more like improvement opportunities for yourself. So I like that a lot. All right, thanks Haitong for your wonderful tips. So again, that's one, identify your weak points, journal, reflect on yourself, and improve upon your skills. And the second one is network. Network to get to know what the job is like, get to know the researchers, learn about their life and what they do and what they can teach you. So yeah, great tips. All right, so thank you, Haitong, for your time. Really, really appreciate your tips and your time for sharing your story and all your golden nuggets of knowledge to help all the aspiring UX leaders out there. Yeah, so thank you again.
Yeah, happy to help. Hope it's helpful. And thank you for having me in this discussion. It's super fun.
Totally. All right. Yeah, if you enjoyed this video, smash the like button, of course, subscribe. And we make all things UX research related to help you become the most badass UX leader. Bad love. Peace.